I'm muted. There we go. Yo, what's up, crew? Hope you guys are doing well. Happy Wednesday. Welcome back to Agency Therapy. Hope you guys can hear me okay. Give me a little thumbs up in chat if you guys can hear me. Make sure the microphone's sounding crispy today. We got a great live training for you guys today. Really excited to jump into it, talking about project management systems. And he said thumbs sideways. Talking about project management systems today and why a majority of them fail and they don't work very well. Jack, what's up, brother? Good to see you, man. Thanks for tuning in today. You guys are going to need a little some resource today. Okay. So let me drop that in the chat for you guys. If you guys haven't gotten access to this Miro board, it's our stream board. It's basically where we do all of our live lessons. That way you guys can see you guys can have access to all of the lessons. Make sure that you guys have the frameworks, all the formulas, everything that you guys need, the templates, the tools, all inside of the stream board. So that's there for you guys to utilize. We'll be going into it today. I'll share my screen here in a minute. But if you guys wouldn't mind, before we jump into today, leave a like on the stream. It helps reach more people in order to grow the audience, in order to grow the channel. Okay, so would appreciate that. And if you're not subscribed yet, Jack, I don't know if you're subscribed, but if you're not subscribed, you should be subscribed so you can check out all the new content we're posting. We're going all in on YouTube recently, and we're growing, and it feels good. So let's jump in today. Excited for this one. We're talking about project management systems, and specifically, why exactly do they fail? Why don't they work very well for a majority of agencies or majority of businesses in general? So let's chat a little bit more on that today. I'm going to share my screen. You guys grab that link because you're going to want to grab some of these templates and tools that we have inside of here. There's a ton of different lessons. If you guys are relatively new to agency therapy, man, we have a ton of stuff here for you guys to utilize on a regular basis. Everything from lead generation to positioning to offers to pricing, ton of different resources. Okay, onboarding clients, strategies to reduce churn. Okay, so a lot of different resources here for you guys. 100% for free. All you have to do is jump into the Miro board. There's some lessons that go along with it. You can just click on these videos here. It'll take you to the appropriate YouTube video. I do have to update some of these lessons in the right column here, so bear with me on that as I have to update it. So, but what we're jumping into today is specifically around project management systems, and this is going to kind of be the theme probably for the next month or two. Is you're only getting audio from one side, like one headphone, Tyler? Let me know. Let me know. Oh, it might just be your headphones. Okay, got it. So specifically, we're going to be jumping into 10 points to work through to troubleshoot your project management software. And this is going to kind of be the theme probably for the next month or two of I want to go specifically deep. And if you guys are not using ClickUp as your project management software, one, what are you doing? I'm just kidding. You can use whatever project management software you want, but a lot of the resources, a lot of the content we'll be posting probably over the next, say, 30 to 45 days is probably going to be around ClickUp. We're going to go really deep specifically on that. So kind of keep that in mind as we jump into some of this project management stuff and the content that we're going to be posting here in the future. So let's hop in today. So 10 points that we're going to work through to troubleshoot your project management software today. There's a lot here. There's a lot to cover. We have a short amount of time today, and I want to make sure we get through it all. So if you guys have questions as we go through, feel free to drop them in the chat as we're working through this lesson today, and I'll make sure that I answer them as we move through it. Okay. So what are we talking about first here? Well, we're going to be talking about over complexity, and this is really the number one thing that I often see when it comes to project management softwares and where they tend to fall short. It's like we just try to do too much inside of the software itself, right? So easily one of the most common things we see inside of project management setups is just the over complexity. There's a lot of features, there's a lot of complex terminologies, unnecessary layers, and approvals by confusing and hindering productivity. Okay, so at the end of the day, remember simple scales. That's like the ultimate term when it comes to running good operations for any business is that simple scale. So you got to keep your project management software very simple in order for you to scale it all across a team. So with that being said, what are some solutions? What can we start to bring to our project management software to start making it a little bit more efficient and remove some of the complexity? Well, one of the first things that I want to talk about is prioritize the essential features. And each project management software is going to have some sort of essential feature that you really need to dial in on, right? And so at the end of the day, everyone in here, every agency that would come into this stream today, you guys are going to have different needs, right? And so you need to identify which specific features that your team actually needs the most and prioritize those. Okay. And at the end of the day, if your team frequently collaborates on documents, a feature like collaborative editing would kind of be essential for you guys. So avoid systems bloated with features that your team rarely uses. So as you're kind of auditing, hey, should we go with ClickUp? Should we go with Asana? Should we go with Monday.com? Look at the features, and a lot of them are similar at this point, and they tend to add more features instead of just making the system or the interface better. Look for things that your team would actually use versus looking for all the solutions and all the things and all the different features, right? You want to make sure that you get the best systems possible and that you're not bloated in that area. Okay. Streamline processes. Okay. So once again, you guys, complex systems, we're not about that. Okay. We want simple scales, right? And so if you have convoluted processes with too many layers and steps, chances are it's not going to work very well for yourself. Snooze in the building. What up, brother? Good to see you, man. So simplify these processes by removing a lot of the unnecessary steps, a lot of the approval layers, which can speed up workflows and boost productivity. Okay. Once again, keep it simple. And then simplifies the user interface. If you guys are putting in a lot of complex interface, we did this with our content team. This was one of like the biggest mistakes that you could possibly have. If you guys have a content team and you're putting in project management software for them, as an operator, like you're trying to like do all of these like cool like automations and make it very complex. But at the end of the day, that can be very challenging for a creative mind. So opt for systems with user-friendly, intuitive interfaces, not only making this a lot easier for your team to use the system, but you can also reduce a lot of the time spent on your team using that system. So simplify the user interface. Don't feel like you guys have to do something super complex. So a lot of times, the most simple task can actually work inside of things like ClickUp, Monday, or whatever project management software that you're using. Okay. Snooze said, always catching the replay, seldom able to catch the lives. So much value. I appreciate that, brother. Appreciate that. Let me know if you have any questions. I don't know if you're hanging for a minute today. I know you're busy, but let me know if you have any questions as we're kind of moving through today. Okay, so that's point number one. So guys, keep it simple. If you keep your project management software simple, you're gonna win. Okay, like it's gonna scale a lot easier. Your team's going to adopt it easier. Don't feel like you need all the bells and whistles. Okay. All right. Number two, lack of prioritization. Lack of prioritization. Many project management systems are based on a one size fits all model, which doesn't really work. Okay. Especially if you're running a full service agency. So if you guys have multiple services that you're running, right, chances are project management is going to look different for your services, right? So if you're doing email marketing, if you're doing paid ads, if you're doing content creation, well, there's no one size fits all model specifically for that, right? So we have to be able to adjust and have a little bit more personalization. And here's the thing is each organization, project, and team has unique requirements. Okay. Even members on teams have unique requirements. So we have to allow for some customization in there, which I know kind of goes against what we said in the first point, but you do need to allow some personalization in here and make sure that the people can actually work the system. Okay. And so once again, this goes against our first point a little bit, but each department of the agency will require different frameworks, and it will increase the operational complexity as a byproduct. But you know, you want this balance, right? Project management is a balance between being too complex and being overly simplified. Okay. Jeff Clayton in the building. Yo, Tyler, Jeff's watching it on the stream today. We love to see it. All the way from LA, baby. Good to see you, brother. All right. So some solutions that we can specifically bring to our project management software if you guys are feeling that it needs a little bit more personalization and that you're lacking personalization across your departments. Well, one, understand your needs again. Okay. So before you can personalize any system, you actually need to understand your team's unique needs. And this is a common thing of like whether you're trying to make it too complex or simple enough, you need to know the needs of what your team actually needs. And how do you figure that out? Well, you ask them. Okay. So identify specific tasks, processes, workflows that your team uses regularly. Bring them in on the build of your project management software. Don't forget to consider the specific requirements of your industry, your clients, projects. Okay. All those things should be taken into consideration as you're building out your project management software. Okay. Second thing is we have to actually choose a customizable system. So not all project management systems will offer the same level of customization. The ones that I kind of named, Monday, ClickUp, Asana, like those tend to offer a high level of customization. So just make sure that whatever project management software you're using will allow you to have a decent amount of customization, because you're going to want specific workflows, you're going to want specific custom fields, more personalized notifications, the ability to add or remove features as needed. So make sure there is some customizable features to this. You don't want it so plug and play or so templated to where you can't change anything. Like, for example, in my opinion, I think like Basecamp is like not customizable enough, right? They kind of put you inside of this framework, inside of this box that you can't move outside of. So make sure you have something that is very customizable. Okay. Define your custom workflows is the third point in this one. Okay. So each project or team, you guys might have a different workflow. A customizable system should allow you to define these workflows specifically. So, for instance, you should be able to uh, set stages a task goes through, who's responsible for each stage, and what triggers that task to move to the next stage. Okay. So, say for content creation as the perfect example here, chances are you're going to have some pre-production, right? So the planning of the content. You're going to have production, so that's like the actual shoot itself. You're going to have post-production, you're going to have revisions, and then you're going to have, delivery or something along those lines. Okay. So what happens at each of those stages, you're going to have to map workflows to specifically each one of those stages so you can align it in your project management system. If you don't do that, if you kind of just start plugging that in, and my recommendation is use something like Miro, where you can map out exactly the stages of that process in each individual stage specifically. If you don't do that, if you don't build a workflow out, it's going to be really hard to actually build out a strong project management system, because you're going to have times where you're going to have disconnects within that system. So we want to make sure it runs fluidly, that we know exactly what step comes in when, who's responsible for it, how long it takes. Okay. And we want to make sure we define those workflows. And then the fourth piece here, just consider user roles, access levels. Okay, not everyone on our team. This is probably one of the best things that you could practice inside your agency. Not everyone on your team needs access to everything. So if you have multiple services within your agency, and say you have an email marketing department and you have a paid ads department, well, chances are your paid ads department doesn't need to be inside your email marketing department and seeing all of their tasks, and vice versa. Okay, so make sure that there's some access levels, make sure that they just have the information to specifically do their job, while protecting also sensitive information, but we just need to make sure that they can do their job. That's what they should have access to. Okay. All right, let's keep plugging along here, because we're only on three out of 10. Um, Third one here is disregarding the human factor. Okay, disregarding the human factor. What do I mean by that exactly? Well, a project management system is really only as effective as the people using it. Straight up. Snooze, what'd you say here? He said, I feel stuck. Why you feel stuck, brother? I'm at the point where I'm super busy with all the client tasks I have, but I don't have enough work to bring people in to replace myself yet. What's the best move? Good question, man. So my recommendation is hit up my boy Jeff Clayton. Get yourself a Indonesian executive assistant VA, a little bit cheaper labor right off the bat, that can help you with some of the more menial tasks that you're actually doing. Okay, because chances are there's a lot of tasks involved that can be really easily standardized and put into an operating procedure that you can pass off to a VA of some sort. So I would recommend potentially starting there. Figure out the things you don't really enjoy doing that are relatively menial that you can pass off easily. Okay. Chances are you do have a little bit of a budget here in order to pay for someone, right? Chances are you can afford a $500 a month VA. Okay. And guess what? Jeff Clayton has got the plug for that. So hit him up if you need a little extra help. That's where I would kind of start. Is just offboarding some of the more menial tasks that you have on a regular basis, like reporting, for example. Reporting is so easy to like send out to clients. Like, obviously you have to get on calls with them, but like the full report itself, that could be standardized, right? And you can have like a VA put together the report for you. Really easy. Okay. Start making SOPs for when it makes sense to bring people in. Yeah, absolutely. Start making SOPs, 100%. And then you said, I think about finding a VA, but I feel like I'll need to be able to give them at least a few hours of a work day. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing is you could bring them in a part-time capacity even, right? It doesn't have to be full time. They could work for you for 10 hours. Um, and a lot of times VAs have multiple jobs. So you can bring people on in a part-time capacity. It's not a requirement for them to come on full time. All right. So where do we leave off here? Disregarding the human factor. So okay, once again, it's only as effective as the people using it. And sometimes we over rely on the technology and forget the human element uh, that is actually needed to run a project management software, some of the capabilities and adaptability of the team members, right? So, okay, how do we do this exactly? Well, one, encourage feedback for your system. So if you guys have teams, well, the best way to fix your project management software is asking your team what is actually broken. Okay. What are they struggling with? What doesn't work inside of this? And ideally, if you could wave a magic wand, what improvements to the system would you make? Okay. So that's the first piece. Okay. Second piece here is ongoing support. Okay. So just give initial training or give beyond the initial training, give ongoing training support. Anyone that is currently using the system, continue to upgrade it. Okay. Continue to give better trainings, FAQs, tutorial videos on how to use it the best way that you possibly can. Anybody new that comes on to your team should go through a training on how to use your project management software. Okay. We're actually currently building this out for our team. So even for us, like we're still working on a lot of this stuff as well. So, I mentioned a dedicated help desk here. What I mean by dedicated help desk is like an internal Wikipedia that your team can search through in order to have the resources they need to run their project management software appropriately. Okay. All right, promoting culture of learning and adaptability. Okay, so my favorite thing to do is task my team on what they're looking for inside of the project management software. There's this little thing called Chat GPT now, where you can actually plug in exactly what you want inside of the project management software and be able to get a response from it. Right. So if you're looking for a specific workflow, you can ask Chat GPT, "Hey, how do I build out a workflow that will do X, Y, and Z for me and deliver Y result?" You can do that, and it will absolutely shoot out what you're looking for and the steps that you need to do. And you can even ask it, hey, do you have any recommended automations for this? Do you have any recommended Zapiers that we can use to make this job a little bit easier? And it will give it to you. A complete roadmap. It's incredible. Okay. Personalize where possible. At the end of the day, people are more likely to use this workspace if there's a little bit of a personal touch to it, if they feel like it is within their work style, where possible, allow for some personalization of that system at an individual level, such as personalized views or personalized notifications. Once again, we're listening to the team to see what they actually need. Uh, Iterate based on feedback. Okay, so don't just collect feedback, act on it, right? So if you guys are collecting feedback on your system, make those changes, make them quickly, make them feel heard, and that you actually receive the feedback, and that you guys create a system that actually works for them. Once again, comprehensive training. I feel like we kind of covered that already over here. Okay, so ongoing support, but once again, that onboarding training going to be really important for you guys as people are coming onto your team. And then this one's probably one of the more important ones here is assign a project management champion. Guess what? You don't need an ops manager. You don't need a COO. Okay, to have a project management champion, you can ask someone, hey, how would you feel about potentially becoming our project management champion, right? And you're going to be the designated person that provides support within the team. You're going to help us build this thing out. Might come with a little pay bump as well, right? Some bonuses here and there, and an individual who's specifically skilled in using the system. So a lot of times, like uh, the head of email marketing or one of your department heads can actually be very good at designing systems inside of your project management software. So you can go in there and you can promote more effective usage through someone that champions the project management software. So kind of think about that. Who on your team can you delegate this to in order to build out the best system possible? Boom. All right, number 4. If you guys are still with me, drop me a number 4 in the chat. Okay, number 4 in the chat if you're still with me. Okay. Ignoring the importance of communication. Okay, can't ignore it. But a lot of project management systems often focus heavily on the task and timeline. So don't overlook the importance of facilitating some of that effective communication. Going to be really important for you guys. So a lot of the softwares now actually have integrated communication tools. So make sure whatever you're using, choose a tool that has communication inside. So things like messaging, discussion boards, comment sections. That's kind of what we're looking for. We need to be able to comment uh, on tasks if needed and keep the conversations inside of the context it makes sense and easier to track specific discussions. Okay. So one of the worst habits a lot of agencies get into is that they keep the communication inside of Slack and they don't keep the communication inside of the project management software. Okay. And our rule of thumb is always if it happens in Slack, it doesn't count because we can't keep people accountable to it, right? So we have to keep it inside of the project management software. So if we're tasking people, I can't task people in Slack. I have to task them inside of the project management software that I'm using. Okay. So super key there. If it happens in Slack, it doesn't count. Make sure all that communication happens inside of the context of where it actually makes sense. Real-time updates, notifications. Okay. Once again, we're looking for updates and notifications to keep everyone informed on the project changes. So timely alerts, updates, status changes, new comments. Okay. We want all of that to happen inside of our project management software. So we can foster a sense of transparency. We know exactly what's going on for whatever project we're working on. So make sure all that's happening internally and not externally in some other communication channel. All right. We're looking for collaboration friendly features as well. Okay. There's a lot of things like shared documents. Like ClickUp has a great documents feature that we use pretty often on collaborating on, content ideas, ads that we're trying to create, our one-on-one meetings that we hold with clients, right? All of those are shared documents internally. So if we need to check in on, hey, what happened with this client over our last few meetings? Well, I can go back and I can look at that, right? So you want to have some collaboration friendly tools inside of these project management softwares. Okay. Once again, we're going to facilitate a little bit more communication and a more collaborative environment by doing that. Okay. Roles and responsibilities. Okay. This is relatively simple, but this just makes sure that everyone can communicate about specific issues, tasks, and making sure that you guys can communicate more efficiently. With the clear rules and responsibilities that you guys have inside of that system. So make sure that that's just defined. A lot of times there's a feature inside of every project management software where people can get tagged or assigned to specific tasks. So just make sure that that's in there. Most of them have it. We also like the use of ats, so mentions inside of tasks. This is just going to make sure that that person is going to see the most relevant and important messages. So if there's something specific that you want someone to see, well, you can mention them and make sure that they actually see that. It's going to go to their notification bar, and that way there's no risk of miscommunication. Okay, and once again, we have to train the team. Train the team on how you guys communicate inside of your software. That's the best way to do it. And so, hey, do we mention someone in this certain scenario? How do we use comments versus messages? Right. So there's a lot of different nuances there, but you should have effective training on that. All right, number 5, rigid systems. Okay, a lot of times we're focused on tasks and timelines, but overlook the importance of facilitating effective communication. So, kind of wrapping it back into that communication, but we want our system to be somewhat flexible here. So, we're looking to opt for a project management software that allows a little bit more flexibility with management, process workflows, and reporting. We should be able to adapt a lot of different varying nature of projects, client requirements, team dynamics, right? Because that's the thing is like an agency is fluid. It's not a hey, this is like one rule and this is how it goes every single time. So we need to remove some of that rigidity and have a little bit more flexibility inside of the system. Okay. Adjustable workflows. Okay. Things like being able to move dates around, different project requirements. Right. Chances are, like say, like you run an agency for e-commerce brands. Well, not every e-commerce brand is the same. It's like not all health and beauty brands. Well, you're gonna have people in the fitness space. You're gonna have apparel and clothing brands, right? Uh, there's a lot of different projects, and so chances are you're gonna need probably some flexibility in the workflows that you have for your clients. So, at the end of the day, this could mean allowing tasks to move backwards, move forwards in the process, or even skip steps where necessary. That can happen. So we need that flexibility inside of our project management. Okay. I'm a big fan of this as well. This is actually something that I've been working on internally for us is that we need a place for more like ad hoc tasks. So a lot of times, like especially in creative agencies, there's a lot of unplanned and ad hoc tasks that pop up. We should have a place for this to accommodate these tasks without disrupting our workflow. So we're designing this currently, but essentially each person is going to have a place for ad hoc tasks as they pop up. And so they can be assigned, we can keep track of them, and it's not just a Slack message once again. Okay. So have a place for ad hoc tasks where needed. Okay. Iteration improvement. Okay. We're once again encouraging a culture of iteration, continuous improvement. Okay. We want to make sure that these processes are not necessarily set in stone, but are meant to be evolved on learnings of past projects. So if we need to make those iterations, we can, but we want to make sure our team is aware of that. And we talk specifically on a balance framework. So the system should provide a framework for consistency, but not at the cost of creativity. Okay, so the objective here is to strike a balance between maintaining a structure and allowing for more creative freedom. Especially if you're running a content agency, you need to have some room for creativity. Okay, you can't trap your creatives in a box. If they don't have room for creativity, then they're just not going to adhere to the system. Trust me, I manage like 20 creatives at a time. This is exactly what happens. You put them in a box, they don't like the box, and they figure out ways to get outside of it. So you need to have some balance there between maintaining some structure, but allowing for some of that creative freedom. And then this kind of builds off that last point, but experimentation. Okay, don't be afraid to experiment with different workflows. Let your team play inside of the project management software as well. Sometimes that's the best way to find out what works and what doesn't work. And sometimes something that you didn't build for the team uh, is something that works even better, right? So if you have someone on the team that kind of champions a certain piece, you might find that they build it better than you did. So, all right, we're almost there. Halfway point. Okay. Hopefully you guys are still with me. Hopefully this is good information. Okay. In the next couple of streams, we'll actually be working inside of project management software. And we're going to start building out some cool stuff. So, but I wanted to lay the framework. I want to lay the foundation. I know the foundational information can sometimes be a little boring, but hopefully you guys are getting some good stuff from this. Okay. All right. Moving to number 6, lack of ownership. Okay. So one of our most common misconceptions is that our project management needs to be rigid to ensure discipline and consistency. And at the end of the day, we want to make sure, and this really comes down to ownership, right? We want to make sure that we have a flexible system, but we want to make sure that we can, and I think I messed this up on accident. Huh, I did. I'll have to come back around to that one at some point because I totally accidentally messed that one up. So we'll move on to number 7. But at the end of the day, guys, you have to have a project management software that you can tag people in that will allow you to uh, uh, assign people tasks inside of your project management. If you're not utilizing the assignee side of things, your project management software is useless, right? There's just no way it's going to work out for you because nobody knows what they're doing, right? So make sure you're actually using your assignee side of things. I accidentally didn't change these ones. I was copying and pasting down just to get the format, and I totally didn't change this one. So my apologies. I'll have to change that. I'll go back in and change it. I'll have to pull my notes. Okay. Uh, Number 7, failure of integration. Okay. Uh, Project management systems are not integrated with other tools and systems that the agency uses. Then a lot of times this can lead to disjointed workflows. Okay. So your project management software is not the only system that you're going to use. It's not the only software you're going to use. You want to make sure that you can integrate that in with your project management if it makes sense, of course. So one, we want to make sure we choose integration friendly tools. So, if, for example, something that we utilize pretty heavily is, the form feature inside of our ClickUp. Those tools will sometimes integrate with other tools in a workflow. So you want to make sure that there are some options for integrations with your tools. This could be anything from CRMs, communication platforms, file sharing services. We want to make sure all that's integrated. Like we use Google a lot, like Google Drive with a lot of our tools or with our project management software. So we make sure that we use we chose an integration friendly project management software. Okay. Sorry, long winded. But we got there. Okay. Assess your needs. So before you begin kind of integrating a bunch of different softwares, once again, we have to make sure it fits in the workflow. We don't just integrate, we don't just automate things just to automate things. Okay. We want to make sure it's the best strategy to focus on integrating things that will actually work and streamline inside of our workflow the most effectively. So if you don't assess your needs beforehand, chances are you're just like plug things in that you think will work, and then all of a sudden they don't make sense in the workflow. All right. Automate where possible. Automations are one of those things that everyone wants a ton of automations, but sometimes they don't make sense. But if we can automate, we will automate. So look for those opportunities to automate tasks. This could be anything from automated data transfers, triggered updates, syncing of activities. Like today, we built out an automation for a client that when someone starts on a task, and they trigger that task to get started, then the what's it called? The timer automatically starts for them, so they know how long they've been working on the project, and then when they move it to the next stage, it stops the timer, so we know exactly how long it took. Okay, so there's a lot of different things that you can do on the automation side. There's a ton of YouTube tutorials out there on how to automate systems, and then also once again, you can use ChatGPT for automation. So if you're looking for a specific workflow when it comes to building out automations for this, just type it in ChatGPT. What exactly are you looking for? Hey, I want a client, or I want a task to be able to do X, Y, and Z, and then be able to automate it, right? So you can do that inside of ChatGPT. You just have to prompt it in the right ways. All right, assess those needs once again. So before, or I already covered that one. Okay, so integrate. Okay, so if you guys are going to do some integrations, assess your needs before you do it, and then the last point here: ensure data consistency. So a lot of times when you guys are integrating different softwares, especially if you guys are going to integrate uh, any software that's like data around like client reporting. You want to make sure you have consistent data across those platforms, but also establish some protocols to have like a source of truth, right? So you want to make sure that you have one place that you know for a fact that the data is coming in correctly. So say you're using like a triple whale and you're integrating it into ClickUp, for example, to bring that data in. Just make sure you check in on that source of truth from time to time and make sure it's the right data. Okay. All right, we're almost there. Two more points. Two more points. I'm gonna open it up for questions. Start thinking of those questions now as we're wrapping up here. Reliance on manual updates. So once again, there's a balance to this, right? Project management software is always a balance, but contrary to belief, manual updates uh, that manual updates ensure accuracy. They often lead to human errors and outdated information. So once again, we're looking to automate where we can. So automate as much as you possibly can, if it makes sense, right? So once again, we want things like status updates to be automated, tasks that can automatically be marked as in progress or completed. Okay, same thing with subtasks. So you want to make sure there's some automations there that you guys can uh, can automate, right? Real-time tracking. So we're looking for real-time tracking of tasks, resources, timelines, allowing your team to have an up-to-date view on project progress, to know exactly where things stand at any given time. So you're looking for, you know, things like timelines, Gantt charts. That's going to help you guys track things a lot easier inside your project management software. Time tracking tools. A lot of these softwares have time tracking tools. So if your team uses time tracking, or if they don't use time tracking, I would recommend getting them on time tracking. Um, and once again, allowing you for better time logs. This is going to also help with tracking profit margins, being able to see how much time it actually takes to work on specific clients, because we all know that certain clients are less profitable than others because of how much time we actually work on them. And so, if you're not tracking time, this is a really good verification of that. Automated resource allocation. You know, some systems offer features that are automatically assigned to the team. based on their workload, right? So can be really important if you have like uh, a really high number of tasks for a certain position. And so it can allocate it to the right person based off of their workload. Okay. So once again, we can balance workload based off of that, which is really nice. So if you have a large team, if you have a lot of tasks going on at once, and then people have gaps in workload, well, great. This will automatically put certain tasks to certain positions based off of their workload, which is so helpful, right? In my experience, would you recommend Hubstaff? I actually don't even know what Hubstaff is. Is that like HubSpots? Let me look real quick. Hubstaff. I would assume that it's HubSpot's project management software. Oh, time tracking. So we don't use Hubstaff. What do we? We used Harvest for our time tracking software, Jack. We like Harvest because it integrates directly with ClickUp. So that's at least my recommendation. I'm sure Hubstaff is probably relatively similar. At least I think that's what it does. Yeah, time tracking and productivity monitoring tool. Yeah, so we use Harvest. I don't think it actually matters as long as you're using something, but would recommend Harvest if you're using ClickUp because it has a direct integration and you can track a lot of that inside of ClickUp, which is super helpful. And then the last part on the automation side, guys, is just going to be automatic notifications. This normally happens automatically with most softwares, but if yours doesn't do that, I would find one that does do it to ensure that everyone's informed on timelines. Okay, and especially if things go overdue or are coming up to the due date, and you're not a certain way progressed through it, you get those automatic updates. All right, number nine. Number nine, Jack. How we feeling on this? We feeling good? Who's still with me here? I know the Tylers are still here. Snooze, you still here? Snooze was snoozing. All right. Overemphasis on planning. Number nine. Okay, so while planning is important, we want to make sure we plan, but an overemphasis on planning in your system can lead to a little bit of analysis paralysis. So, a couple fixes to this. Man, we on. All right, Tyler. I see you. I see you. Jack, what did you say here? Said noted. We're concerned with the effect on our work culture, but I'm leaning towards wanting some type of tracking. Yeah, so at the end of the day, time tracking is not necessarily like a big brother tool where it's like, hey, we're watching you and you better be doing your work. It validates for us as a team, right? A couple different things. So one, it's going to validate the profitability of all of your projects. You might find that one of your clients is literally sucking all the profit out of your retainer, right? They're too much work, right? And so you either need to raise that price point or you just need to drop the client because you're actually losing money on that client. That's why, that's one of the biggest reasons we do time tracking. Also, it allows us to actually do capacity planning where our goal is always to be at 85% billable hours for all of our team. Okay. So if our team's not 85% billable, then they're not doing enough billable work, right? Especially if they're in a very billable position. So, say you have a media buyer as an example here, we have to know that they're at least 85% billable for them to be a very effective position. The other 15% is meant for internal team meetings, I don't know, lunch breaks, all that good stuff. Okay, so that extra 15% that's not billable, that's kind of just like external trainings, all that good stuff. Okay, but 85% billable really tells us like, hey, this person's really starting to hit their capacity in their work hours. We should probably either look at a couple different things. One, how can we get more efficient in this position? Two, do we actually need to hire someone at this point? Right? It is a very clear measure of if we need to hire someone. Was there a third one? What's number three? What would number three be? I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head. But those are two really big ones, right? Actually being able to plan for capacity, and then actually knowing if we're at capacity or not, right? Because a lot of times our team will say, "Man, like I'm just feeling really capped on time." Well, I look at your time tracking and your billable hours are literally only 60%. So where can we get a little bit more efficient throughout our day? Are we scrolling on TikTok? Like what's going on here? Because we're only 60% billable. And it makes a very clear statement of how billable people actually are. I'm not using it to hawk over people, right? I don't really care, as long as we get the work done. But can we add more capacity? Can we bring more profit to the bottom line? That's what I care about. Okay. All right. So flexible planning as well. So use a system that allows for and encourages flexible planning. This could mean the ability to easily update plans, change tasks in the order, adjusting timelines. We need without extensive overhaul, right? So we need to have a little bit of flexibility inside of our software. Goal-oriented approaches. Instead of focusing solely on the plan, focus on the end goal or the deliverable. Yeah. This can keep the project moving forward even when the plan changes or needs to change. Okay. Yeah, Jack, check out Harvest. It works really well. We like it a lot. Um, okay, we want to make sure that we have rapid prioritization in here as well. Okay, so implement tools and techniques that allow for rapid prioritization of tasks. The Eisenhower matrix, for example, is perfect. Is a simple tool that can help us quickly determine the tasks that are urgent and important. This is really easy to set up inside of like prioritizing our tasks. You can set this up really easily inside of project management, and then it lets people know this is the most important thing that we're working on at this point. And then time boxing or time blocking, whatever you guys want to call it. We can promote this inside of our project management software. Setting hard time limits on planning meetings. You can also use like a Pomodoro technique, which is I think it's like 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off, and alternating between planning and doing. Right. So at the end of the day, like time blocking can really easily be implemented inside of your project management software. All right, we're on to the last one. Okay. Underestimating reviews. Okay, so a lot of our project management systems do not have adequate review or feedback mechanisms built in, so leading to a lack of learning and improvement over time. Okay, once again, we want things that will allow us to implement feedback into the system, into this project management software. So, a couple things that we can do. Post-mortem meetings after each project or at the end of significant project milestones. We can hold a post-mortem meeting. Team discusses what went well, what didn't do go well, and what could be improved. Incorporate these insights into planning into future projects, and you can host all of this inside of your project management software, which is so efficient and effective, right? Because these meetings and these takeaways are all inside of your project management. You can also implement surveys, questionnaires directly in your project management software, right? You can use form features inside. You can distribute surveys to clients, to internal teammates, right? Get feedback about how your project management is actually working. And then this will, provide the insight you need to make those adjustments. Okay. Highlight areas for improvement. So utilize that. Also, we can get a lot of feedback, 360-degree feedback. Okay. Open communication across every team member. Okay. Giving feedback, receiving feedback, superiors, subordinates, right? All of that feedback comes full circle for us. Okay. So find something that can allow you to give that feedback inside of the system. And then training and support. Okay. Last time I'll say training and support, I promise. But once again, we can offer a lot of ongoing training and support uh, to help them train them inside of this project management system. And we can house a lot of that training inside without going outside of it. So yeah, that's kind of what we're looking for inside of a project management software. Man, my man Dylan G. What up, dude? Back again. Always, dude. We're live Wednesday at 7. So, you guys, if you want to hop into a good project management software, I left a link down here. It is an affiliate. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna lie to you. But if you guys are looking to get a nice, robust project management software that's going to give you all the features that you need, ClickUp's the spot, man. A lot of our future trainings are going to be on ClickUp. Over the next month or two, I'm going to be doing a ton of project management software trainings. We're going to go deep on ClickUp. I'm going to teach you guys how to use ChatGPT to optimize ClickUp as well. There's a lot of cool features that we've been utilizing recently on how to build out specific features inside of ClickUp. So hop in. Okay. Here's my affiliate link. Okay. I do get paid for this. This is the one thing. Okay. I do a ton of free training. This is the one thing I want to get paid on. Okay. Is my ClickUp affiliate. So if you guys sign up for ClickUp, okay. If you guys appreciate the trainings, okay, use this link here. Okay. And actually, I think you actually get a little bit of a discount too if you sign up through that link. So boom, that's it. What questions do you guys have on project management software? What can I help you with specifically today? Anything that you guys, it doesn't have to be on project management. It can be on lead generation, sales, fulfillment, HR, finance, whatever it is that you guys want to chat about. We can go a little bit deeper on the stream. But that's all I got to share with you guys today. Next week, we'll be talking a little bit deeper on something specifically. I don't know what yet, but maybe I'll poll you guys. What do you guys want to chat about inside of project management? Are you guys struggling with anything? Anything that you guys need help building out? We'll build it live right here on the stream. So let me know. Let me know. But what other questions do you guys have? Can answer for a few minutes here. Any other questions that you guys have? Shoop. Jack, you got some more questions? Dylan, you have any questions? Snooze, Tyler's. Give it a few minutes here. Give it a few minutes here. If you guys haven't gotten the stream or the Miro board from the stream yet, here it is right here for you. I'll drop it in the chat. While you guys are here, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you can. Would appreciate it. So there's the Miro board for you guys. You guys can go and download some of those free resources. They're all here right inside of the Miro board. So 100% free for you guys. Utilize it. There's some good stuff in here. I don't see any questions coming in, which makes my job easier. We had some good chatter in the stream today. We love to see it. Cool. Any other questions? We'll give it another second here. 30 more seconds. And then your boy is going to go get some food. What else do you guys got? Jack. What's the most common mistake you see happening in ClickUp like ours? Good question. I would say the biggest mistake that I see is communication happens inside of Slack instead of inside of ClickUp, right? So tasks are getting performed or tasks are being assigned in ClickUp, or I'm sorry, tasks are being assigned in Slack or like an outside communication platform, not inside of ClickUp, right? So a really good rule of thumb, once again, is if it happens in Slack, it doesn't count. Or if it happens inside of this outside communication platform, it doesn't count. We have to keep everything inside of ClickUp. Otherwise, we lose track of it and we can't keep people accountable to it, right? That's the point of us having a project management software in the first place, is that one, we can assign people, we can put a due date on it, and we can keep people accountable to that. Without that, right, that can't happen in Slack. You can't do that in Slack. So we have to bring that over into ClickUp or into other project management software, whatever you guys are using. So keep that in mind, as like that's the number one thing that we see every single time. You have to keep it in ClickUp. Otherwise, you will lose track of it. So start to bring some of that communication back into ClickUp. Use their features. They're actually really good. Okay. Comment. There's a comment feature in ClickUp. There's description features in ClickUp. So there's a really easy ways to communicate. We just don't do it because the team probably isn't trained on it. So train the team on, hey, this is how we're going to communicate. Excuse me. This is how we're going to communicate from now on when it comes to anything that is project related. Of course, we want fast comms inside of Slack. That's what's great about Slack, is like it's really quick. We can get our answer. But remember, just because something is urgent to you doesn't mean that it's urgent to the rest of the team. So sometimes we need to allow them to do their work and then respond on their time. Right? Because that's the expectation you probably have of them, is like, hey, like I'm really busy. I need to respond on my time. Well, they're working too. Okay. So there's no need that you need to slack them on that. Dylan, get out of here. He said, don't use ClickUp, but guilty. Man, you don't know anything. What do you know? What do you know? Dylan, what do you guys use now? You guys use Monday, right? I think, if I'm not mistaken. I will tell you this, ClickUp is a little buggy from time to time, but there's a big but here. They're releasing their 3.0 pretty soon. It's coming out probably by the end of this year. It's going to be hosted on a new platform. It should be a lot faster and a lot less buggy, which we're excited about. We use ClickUp for every campaign, but a lot of tasks are referring to campaigns but are miscellaneous, like having them check or review or make multiple versions of something that's in ClickUp as one task. Jack, I'm trying to put together. What's the question, Jack? We use ClickUp for every campaign, but a lot of tasks are referring to campaigns but are miscellaneous. I don't know what your question is, Jack. What, what's the question? All right. Also, the headache of moving everything over. Well, yeah, of course, it's a headache moving everything over. So that's why I normally tell people, like, hey, if you're fully integrated into something, don't move. Like, just stay there. It's not worth it, in my opinion. Unless you're looking for something very specific, or if the team doesn't use it well, then you can move over. Definitely not opposed to it, but I don't want to go through the transfer process. Yeah, man, it's a pain. It's a pain in the ass to transfer project management software. But if you feel like you'll be more effective in a new project management software, then move. But if you're like, hey, this is probably going to be um, equally as used, then I would just probably stay where you're at, especially if you have a lot of it figured out. So there has to be a very good reason, especially Dylan, like with where you guys are at, where you guys are six figures per month. There has to be, like, you guys are managing a lot of clients. There has to be a very big reason for you to transfer over into a new software. It's a big overhaul. I don't disagree. I don't disagree. But if you're, relatively small, that move can be easy. And if you're not utilizing it in its most effective way, a lot of these future streams are going to be specifically set up to build out project management for agencies. So, and the reason that we moved to ClickUp, because I used Monday for a long time. I actually really like Monday and the user interface. But the reason that we moved to ClickUp is that they had transferable templates. So everything that I'll create in the next few streams here, I'll be able to drag and drop into anybody's agency. You can download the template exactly and apply it directly to your agency. So that's why I like ClickUp. Hey man, you're the goat. One day I'll be a big shot CEO, you know? Oh, yeah, the template thing is super cool, Dylan. We've been using it a lot with clients inside of Hydra. It's like we have drag and drop, basically drag and drop systems now, for a lot of our clients. So that's like one of our big projects probably over the next 6 months, is building out all the templates for ClickUp, so anybody can download them into their business. So we'll probably productize it at some point. All right, team. I don't see any more questions rolling in. Dylan. Oh yeah, dude, huge W. Yeah, that's why I like ClickUp, is like they're fast moving on some features, but they're a little bit slow on others. But they have a great dev team and they're very well funded. So that extra funding, like they raised a ton of money for ClickUp. So yeah, they're pretty solid. So all right, fam. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Real quick before you leave, like, subscribe. Helps out the channel tremendously. Would appreciate it. And we'll see you in the next one. Be back next week. I'm going to be doing a little bit more customized build outs for ClickUp. So if you guys are like wanting to work on your ClickUp boards, if you're wanting a little bit more custom solution, if you want my help building it out for you as well, come hang out in the next streams, because we're actually going to jump inside of ClickUp, do some of this custom work, and build some templates for you guys. So hopefully that's helpful. We'll see you guys in the next one.